Hey everybody, welcome to week 3 of the course here. So you're getting to the halfway point here. Um, Most of you in both courses, I'm going to do this first part here for both courses. So when you reply, you can just reply in one, and I'll see that you've seen it. So, but anyway, got the scenery up here. But I got a different topic this week than some of the others about follow through, because I teach different courses and I see different things in different with students in different courses. And one of the common things I see is a lack of follow through sometimes. Um, you know, all of us have, obstacles and things that, cause us to fall behind. But one of the things is, I stress about is believing in yourself that you can do things. If you're not following through, that can relate to, lack of self-confidence or different things. Now, this may or may not apply to you directly, but usually, if you don't believe in yourself, you're going to have problems with other people's, believing in you and trusting you. And how this relates to the follow through is not just with school, but like with a job and other commitments you might have. If you're the person that's late, you don't get the job done on time, things like that, that's a reflection on you. So, these are things to think about. Making commitments, it means staying loyal to whatever you said you were going to do. Long after moods you said and left you. You may have seen this one before, but still a commitment. It's about, about just being committed. As far as, with school here, all of you, you're in this MBA program, which is a big step. It might be bigger than some of you even realize, because one, you're at the graduate level, so there's certain assumptions and expectations in the world, in the world of business or whatever you're going to get into. When you say you have an MBA, employers, because most of those employers have MBAs, and so they have an expectation of what you know. So, and when you're cheating yourself, like when you make this commitment to do school, you made a commitment to yourself, you made a commitment to do the 10, 20 hours a week. So you've made a commitment, you've made a promise. And if you do not, you don't want to compromise your integrity, your your self-respect, your self-confidence, just your word that, hey, you're going to do something. Every time you don't, you finish the week and you didn't get something turned in, I mean, you failed that week. I mean, you fell behind, you didn't commit. Well, this week's a new week, figure out what you did, how you need to fix that. Because again, this MBA is a full-time job. And if you're not approaching it that way, that's one of the reasons you might be struggling. So there, just, I also use running analogies. Don't stop when you're tired, stop when you're done. Same thing with school. There might be things that are getting in your way, but, you need to finish. Stop when you're finished. You don't just stop because, I'll do it tomorrow. If you say you're going to do it, be sure you do it. So there's my little thing this week about just following through, staying committed to what you said you were going to do. And there you go. So, all right. Okay, into the course here. So week 3 here, you're going to have three chapters again. Developing employees for future success, creating, maintaining high performance, and managing employee performance. So through the course here, it's kind of progressive, but HR is a very I want to say, I guess, big field, or I mean, there's a lot involved in HR, more than just the paperwork side. Developing people. You can also, I also use this term. There's no such thing as bad training, because maybe you've been a victim of not being taught the right way from people who were your bosses, and those are lessons you learned, so you know how not to repeat those lessons with people you'll be molding and mentoring in the future. So again, because with that, with an MBA, there's an assumption here you're going to be running something at some point, whether it's your own company or for somebody else. But either way, how you manage people, how you develop them, interact with them, get their respect and train them, and so is just part of that overall HR side of things. A lot of people don't like HR, but that's, again, could be because of the environment, and you can influence that environment. So it just depends on the situation. let me see here. As we go into week 3 here, same thing with the discussions. You got the assignment and the quiz. Don't forget about your final paper thing. Now we're into week 3. So just remember, part of your paper includes, getting that interview. Where are we at here? So make sure you've read over this. I think I covered it in the first week, but make sure you've figured out who you're talking to, get the interview due, so you can incorporate your interview results in with your paper. So just don't forget about that. The other thing on the HR thing, just one of my own personal experiences, is how people get developed. After the Army, I ran corporate stores in Seattle. So I was running the corporate stores up there. So I had many stories, but one of them was about a manager approached me one Friday night when I was in there about he was wanting to fire one of the phone girls, and and I asked him why. He said, "Well, she's just she still can't get the orders right. When she's not trying to make pizzas, she's just not performing the way she should after being there for 3 months." And I said, okay, well, here, it's busy. We'll talk later. So I looked her name up and did a little research in the computer, and then we had another conversation. And I said, yeah, she's been here 3 months, and in 3 months she's worked like 9 days, 9 evenings for 2 hours. She was never trained. How do you expect somebody, if you bring him in on the busiest night of the week, during the busiest 2 hours, how do you expect him to learn anything? I mean, so that was a situation of a manager not looking at it in a different, perspective. It's like, people have to be trained, they have to be taught. I mean, there's a little training time, and just doing it for 2 hours once a week, it won't cut it. So anyway, that's just an example. I mean, just there's always the other side of stories sometimes when things happen. So, but anyway, okay. So with that, I'll let you go. And need anything, get in touch, and that'll do it. So I'll do my test question. Which is, if you're in the other course, it's the same test question, but anyway, there you go. And with that, I'll let you go. Have a great week. Please get in touch if you need anything, and that'll do it. Take care.